All right, Steve Quayle, recap what your intel's saying they're deploying with motorcyclists. Are they deploying something, or are they receiving a vaccine, or are they...
No, they're being given the bioagent to release at a coordinated time across the country. Because, look, everybody knows that in the late summer going into the fall, there's a lot of guys that are biking on the roads. But what's fascinating is the ability of the bikers to draw less attention than, let's say, Humvees or dark Denali's or Yukons or Suburbans or whatever. So what is interesting to this, though, is I believe there are multiple strains. This is what people have got to understand. There are multiple strains that have been developed to check all along the efficacy of whatever vectors they're using. Now, what could be more innocuous than people obviously pulling into a gas station or guys going down the road on their bikes with some type of an aerial dispersal thing hooked into a Venturi? And what's interesting to me is we have an eyewitness report of a gentleman who actually confronted, I think there were a group of 6 guys, and one of them was the head guy, all Eastern Europeans, and they basically got very nervous. He also had his 45 tucked into his pants, and when they saw the pants, they all looked at the head, the bikers that weren't the leader looked to the leader for basically his indication of what to do, and he kind of put his hand down like do nothing. So the point is that what I think that people have got to understand is that the clustering. Now, here's what everybody's got to understand. There are specific intel links that go to Kansas University and some of the other universities of specific scientists here that are that have been communicating on high-frequency radio, and that they had been, how should I say this, under the cover of a National Institute of Health or National Science Foundation grant program, have been giving tips the fact that, look, they were going to initiate this in the universities and in the schools.
Now, let me stop you. They are now this week having quarantines over people having the flu at universities all over the country to beta test in a controlled area where they just show up and tell the young students you can't leave. The states are passing laws to conform with the executive order that conforms with World Health Organization Level 6 martial law rules. So the point is the safety is off, the trigger is cocked, the tyranny gun is to our head. And yes, we've confirmed and had guests on universities all over the country months ago, and then reports weeks ago, are having National Guard, regular Army doing drills of locking down the universities. So clearly they were drilling to have that be the beta test to show everybody a lockdown so everyone is acclimated. So we see the phasing and the scripting even before April, when all of this started with the emergency managers at the city and county level in Indiana and Illinois and New York on this show, and with the documents, as the feds were saying flu will come this year, millions will die, there will be mass graves, this is not a drill. Now the question is, are they planning to go with a real flu, or will the pathogen be in the shot, or will it be in both to scare people, and some of the vaccines, not in some of the other different releases? We know top virologists have said it is an engineered flu, or is this just the fear-mongering of the flu, the cover to get the Northcom assets and other centralized command systems in other nations in place under the cover of the flu hysteria?
Well, let me say this. It's going to be an integration of the flu to cover the financial disaster that's in the making. And you can't separate the fact that the international elite want to rid the planet of the population. You and I have done years and years of validation and verification of all their different statements. Now we have, in the last 48 hours, China firing a shot across the financial bow, basically saying we won't take any more of America's junk paper, declaring the whole class of financial instruments as derivatives as junk.
And gold is exploding.
Gold is exploding. And why that's critical, Alex, is this. The idea is that America was raped, pillaged, and plundered. And everybody that knows their pirate history will know that after you've raped, pillaged, and plundered, what do? You burn the cities, okay? And what's tragic is that I don't believe people in this country recognize how in the hell and it's hell, literally the abomination that rises from hell. Can we send all our troops to Afghanistan and Iraq, and meanwhile we're importing foreigners, and we're seeing the prepositioning of men and materials all over the country? You remember all the crap I caught when I said there are, 345,000 people in this country, and all of a sudden now it's stated. So how do you get that when the U.S. military is saying we don't have enough men to send over there, but all of a sudden the magic number 395,000 show up? Well,
NLEO 9. Guys, put FEMA up on screen for people at prisonplanet.tv. Radio listener can just Google NLEO 9, and the top link that comes up is FEMA.gov /media/facts/sheets NLEO9.SHTM, and it says troops from foreign countries right there participating in responding to terrorism in the U.S. It's right out in plain view.